Hello. Let's see. I am live now. Looks like. Sorry, I got a message right when I pressed the live button. So, what are we doing today? We have a white dragon, an ancient white dragon that I'm going to be painting. And you might be asking, Boomer, why is it blue? Well, white wants a nice base coat, a nice light base coat. I normally use yellow, but I didn't want a yellow undertone. I wanted something a little bit more, well, icy. And so we're going to be going with a blue base coat. As you can see, I already painted this all up. Got a prime base coat, that type of stuff. Was doing a little bit of testing of trying to see how the white turned out right there. But apart from that, this is a fresh model. Printed it up. Took a little while, which is why we're a little bit late on our stream today. Well, late as in 24 hours late. But yeah, we're listening to some Miracle of Sound right now. Don't Say a Word from Level 6, which is probably one of my favorite albums of his. Has some of my favorite songs on it. Yeah. So I think we're going to be going through here real quick. Yeah, I think we're just about ready to start. So, I started out with just a gray primer, but to get a main coat, and then as a base coat, I did a ghostly blue of Army Painter's D&D branch. As I said, I want a light and kind of cool undertone for the white. So yeah, we're gonna try and make this guy a nice big white dragon, with a little bit of blue highlights, and maybe if we're feeling jazzy, we may even throw a little bit of purple and maybe even a little bit of green in there too. So we'll see. So first things first, we want to get some white on here, and I like starting with the wings. I'm going to do my best to keep this guy in frame, but he is a big boy, and is a little bit challenging to do that. So let me just shuffle some things around a little bit. I think that'll work. Now, I am probably going to be doing some pretty light coats of white here and building it up, because trying to get white to work properly is pretty hard, and I think the best way to do it is with the glazing style I've been doing, so that it's not too wet and not too thick, and really trying to leverage the base color, this base coat that I've already put on here. Now, something I've noticed is these ridges on this model, and by the way, this is an absolutely fantastic model. I can't remember the name of the guy who did it, but he's done the entire D&D Monster Manual on Thingiverse as 3D models, and it is absolutely gorgeous, fantastic, astounding. All the superlatives. It's great. So, anyway, absolutely great model, and it's got some great, I think corrugation is the right term, on the wings here. And if you brush down, your paint just might get caught in there and give some nice highlights, or get some nice texture to it. I had to print this in multiple parts. The tail is one part, the body is another, the head is another, and each of the wings is another. And I was posting some pictures on my Instagram of the individual parts. The wings themselves took 48 hours to print, which is why I was a bit late this week. But last night I cleaned everything up, got some green stuff to cover up the seams a bit. It's not the best green stuff job that I've ever seen, but but it should keep the basic seams covered. So the thing that I'm most worried about really here is just time. I want to bust this thing out fast, but I'm gonna have to do a couple layers of white over this whole thing, and that's just gonna take a little while. So hopefully you've sat back, relax, have a good cup of something. Because this one's gonna be, well, I doubt it's gonna be my normal 2-hour stream. That's why I started a little bit early today. Normally I stream at 1, and on Tuesdays, so I am both late and early. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about right here. There's some interesting texture starting to build up. And I could leave it. I'm not sure. We'll see. This initial base coat here, I'm wanting to keep pretty solid. Now I think this is dry enough to start working on this side again. And we just might get to a point where we can't get much whiter, which is why I went with the blue base coat. Because if I can't get it perfectly white, I want it to be a color that's going to work well with the other colors I'm going to be working with. But this is lightening up pretty well. And I think what I'm going to try to do here is go with a more, well, instead of trying to paint in details, almost doing a dry brush hybrid right here where I'm trying to build up layers. But also not necessarily trying to get every single surface 100% covered, because you can get some cool patterns, textures to it. The same way that you might do when you do a full dry brush. I'm trying to figure out what's the parts that I really want to turn full blue. I was trying to decide if the highlights should be white or the highlights should be blue. Kind of base color white, highlights blue. And I still haven't decided that yet. I probably should. I think it's a bit easier if the whites are the highlights. But I like the idea of the blues being kind of the highlights, quote unquote. But that means we're going to have an even cleaner white base coat, which we'll see. I don't want to overdo this, but we may just call it at 3 coats and say that's as white as we're going to get. This is, quite possibly, my favorite song of Miracle of Sound. Gavin Dunn. You can find him on Spotify, YouTube channel, all that type of stuff. He's been so kind as to say that people can stream with his music as long as he is given credit. So, credit where credit is freaking due, because he's incredibly good. Okay, let's try to get the bottom sides of these wings here. I'm thinking about it. I may not need to do as thin of coats, which would speed this up. Also, I think my paint water already had a little bit of a blue tint to it, and I think that has already kind of muddied my whites as I used it to mix in some water, which isn't the worst thing in the world because I already want that little bit of a blue tint to the white anyway. So if I can get a 100% pure white at some point to really highlight that, that would work pretty well too. Now there is a grain to 3D printing, and I don't know, I might be able to pull my brush strokes with the grain to kind of hide them. We'll see how well that works. Okay, so that was a pretty aggressive application, but it turned out pretty well, about as good as the top sides, but in way less time. So we're gonna go a little bit more aggressive here to save some time. I feel like a good old acrylic painter here, veritable Bob Ross, just slinging paint on. It's kind of what you have to do on these big projects, I feel like. At least when you don't have an airbrush, which I most definitely do not. Okay. So something else that's also really interesting here is there's some really defined muscles and recesses, which are gonna catch paint wonderfully. So, all right, let me walk you through my idea here. So I think what I want to do is, because this is supposed to be White Dragon, I want the white to be the main, like really the main color. And it's these ridges and the edges of the scales that start to tinge blue. So I think that's the plan that I'm going to go with. It's going to be harder because it would be easier to highlight into white. But I think ultimately it's going to look better and look cooler and more like a white dragon if we do it this way. So we're just going to be throwing layers of white on here. Yeah, I started out trying to make sure that there wasn't too much paint on my brush so that the coats were pretty thin. But I'm getting to the point now where... Alright. Alright. Alright, yeah. I think there was a bad word in the song, but I think I missed it. Oops. I'm trying to keep this stream PG, but sometimes I forget which songs might not have the best lyrics in them. So the parts that I'm really wanting to make white are the these kind of big areas, because the ridges are what is going to start turning blue. Kind of the idea of the white is the inner color and such, and it's the kind of the extremities that are starting to turn to different colors, turn to different blue. Yeah, this is starting to look pretty white. a little bit gray at points, but a bluish gray, which is all right. I'm gonna have to be a little careful. I don't want to over apply this white and have it start pooling. You know the old adage, too thin coats. Well, this guy might take a few more, but I still shouldn't make them too thick. This song was inspired by Fury Road, the most recent Mad Max movie, and oh boy, good movie, good song. We are almost out of our white here. And I may have to switch to a little bit of a smaller brush to get the rest of the body. This guy's pretty big. Man, yeah, this is starting to look pretty good. I'm still a little worried about these areas here up top. They're still looking pretty blue. I don't want to overwork it and start wiping off what I've already laid down. But we'll see. Okie dokie. I'm starting to wonder if I should have done a yellow base coat to make the white end up looking a little bit more white. But we'll see. Let's clean up that brush. Okay, so we're doing pretty good. I think I'm going to need some fresh water here. So I'm going to go grab some real quick because I need some really fresh white without any blue tone to it. So, be right back. And we're back. Okay, got some nice clean fresh water right there. And I am actually gonna even use a new palette hold for some white. We're going to not throw that in there quite yet. Let's see, what do I want here? You want this one? Yeah, we'll give this a try. We do want to thin down our whites a little bit. At least I think so. The funny thing is, so much of this, I don't actually know what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of winging it, no pun intended. Trying to figure out what really works. What doesn't. That may be too thin. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to start working on the flanks and the inner side. There we go. and laying it on pretty thick, but then kind of spreading it out. Not sure if that's a good methodology, but Hey! Hello, Macaru. Yes, yes indeed. We'll see. The issue with laying it on thick initially seems to be it's hard to hide your brush strokes after that point. So we'll see. If you don't move it fast enough, it just ends up staining in weird patterns, which you don't want. So, we shall see. Dragons. Oh, the wing attachments went great. The model actually came pre-cut, and so I was able to just print them as they were, and then I just had to use a file to clean things up a little bit. And you can see a little bit, but you can see I think some of the seam of the green stuff that I used. It's funny, even through the paint, the green stuff is a little bit more shiny than the rest of the model. So, ultimately, it worked out pretty well. But, anyway, okay. This guy is so big. Like, I'm literally running into my camera. I think, ooh, actually, I think my... Ugh, there we go. My camera / mic mount was creeping down. Okay. There you go. So I've yet to really figure out how to really make white work. And this is another step in the journey. I'm finding out that blue may not be the best base coat, but I don't know, we'll see by the time we're done. We may have learned a few new things. But I think this guy is going to take dry brushing pretty well. There's so many great ridges and such, and I think I've got some really good... yes, this one's going to be white. He's going to be white with blue accents. And that is mostly going to be like bluish dry brushing is probably what it's going to end up being. Yeah, so kind of a bluish dry brushing with a white base. So kind of the ribs and the ribbing and stuff like that. Anything that you would imagine is the extremities is going to be bluish. But then again, I do need to have a convincing shadow, and that's where we might get some purple. Use kind of blue, like a light blue to highlight, but then a purple to shade is what I'm thinking we might do, but I have no clue. Well, actually, I have plenty of clues. I just, whether or not I actually follow them or not. I have heard that you normally want to shade closer to, pretty much the next closer color to violet, so like yellow to red, or yellow to orange, orange to red, red to purple, and then if you're going the other direction, green to blue, blue to purple is kind of what you're going for. So we'll see. But my color theory is a bit shaky, so it took me the longest time to get enough guts to actually try doing purple as a red shade, and it was exactly what I needed to do. Or red shadowing and shading, so. Something that is cool about a model of this size, though, is it makes painting around the entire model pretty, like, easy. Because you end up, you can just shift between areas. It's like, hey, I've been working on wings for a while. Okay, well then I'm going to start working on the legs. And by the time I'm done with the legs, the flank's dry, and so I can work on the flank again. And then, oh look, the wings are dry again now, so I can start working on that. So it's like, you can rotate around the model of this size pretty quickly and efficiently. There we go. So got the head here. Oh man, this is going to have some great highlights too. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm trying to figure out here, is that there's so many great recesses in here. It would be a shame not to utilize them. But I'm already using blue as kind of the accent color, but not the shade, so. Did we drop connection? No? There we go, we're good. Okay, that was weird. I got a spinning wheel of buffering doom and I didn't know what was going on. There we go. There is so much drag in here. It's definitely the biggest project I've tried to stream. I think even the red one that I did before was smaller than this. Thankfully, some of this interior stuff I only probably need like 1 or 2 coats on, probably only 1. I mean, let's be honest, he's only probably going to get 1 on the other side, just because it's not super easy to see. The video is stuck. Try refreshing. I don't know why. Other people's. Whenever I watch other people's streams, it's normally fine, but for some reason I've been getting jitters on mine, but the internet connection's fine. Yeah, I would say normally try a refresh. If I refresh, I think I dropped the stream, so that would be bad. Let's see. Anything better, Macaru? Alright, I should probably, instead of talking to a stream that she can't hear. There we go. Anything? Nothing? Alright, I'm gonna give this a refresh. Okay, Bobcat. Oh, that's beautiful. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to refresh this. Okay. How's that? Okay, cool. Also, we've learned something else new today. I was able to refresh the stream and it didn't drop the stream. So, drinks all around. This is really where I wish I had a airbrush, or these big monster jobs, because they are pretty pretty intense to hand brush paint. But I've definitely learned some tricks, how to go a little bit faster. Okay. Get toes. Okay, every time I paint toes, I get that feeling of like when you drag like a towel between your toes, or maybe you're barefoot on carpet or something like that, like a shag rug or something like that. Whenever I paint toes on a monster like this, I get that same sensation, kind of phantom sensation through my toes. Oop, let's not go off camera. There's so much. I keep finding little nooks and crannies. Yep, okay, inside on there. I really should be pretty methodical about this. Right foreleg, inside, outside. Left foreleg, inside, outside. All the toes. I do have a pretty cool idea for the base that I'm looking forward to, which is this guy's gonna have a nice big one, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get just some gravel from the driveway, but I've also got a bunch of old coffee grounds that I can dry and turn those into a texture paint. Okay. Good heavens. Base coat 1. Done. And I've only been streaming for 40 minutes. Woohoo! This is going to be exciting. Okay. I think what we're going to do is I only really have the patience for one more white coat. So we're going to do that. And we're going to try to get this as white as possible. And we're going to try to get this all over the wings and the body. We're going to go back to our big brush here. And we're just going to see if we can get this guy as white as possible. And then everything else is going to be detailing and dry brush, basically. Okay, right wing. You know, I also have some red blood effects paint, which would be really cool to throw on the claws and teeth and stuff like that to give a sense of threat and intimidation. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Left wing. Right wing top, left wing top. There we go. Am I playing a jet plane or something like that? I feel like I'm throwing out call signs. Got too much right on my left wing. Don't know what that would mean, but... Okay, I think that is about as good as we're gonna get. So... Man, I wish I could get this more white, but I have never been able to get something, well, really opaque enough for the white to actually work. It just always shows the base color. So we're just going to try to work with it instead. Orange song. Ooh, that one's good. I think part of my main problem is that I pretty much have to start from a gray. And so if I'm ever going to get a clean white, I just have to put on so many layers. And even when I've done that, it never actually comes through as white. It's still... Yeah. It's weird. I'm still learning the combinations of base coat to overcoat. What really creates the colors that you want. Okay. Let's do the the front facing ribs, which have been somewhat neglected. There we go. Ooh. Hello, Lucky Jade. Sounds like fun. What are you, what geography are you teaching them right now? Like, local, United States, or something a bit more broad? There we go. Front side of this wing. There we go. Hey, we got the whole D&D crew here. Ugh. Okay, so these like little wing thumbs, I don't know what to call them. They're really fragile and they really like to break off. I think I would honestly just prefer just a generic claw there. Because these things just break off so easily. Okay. Wing time. Wing underside. Let's go. I feel like the time lapse of this. Ooh, yes, I like pictures. I mean, if you want wings on your thumbs, you could go, maybe one step away from that and get like a wingsuit. Then you could get wings on your arms. But man, what was geography for me as a kid? I don't remember much US geography. That was never my strong suit. And so I know we had Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, but I was a little bit young to play that when that was the most dominant form of geography teaching. Okay, what are we looking at here? We are looking at a white dragon. What attempts to be a white dragon. It's kind of like a blue-gray dragon currently. But I mean, we're working on it. We're working on it. I don't know. Okay. So, I don't know how to describe this. Oh dear. You know, I think if this ever gets to the point where I have multiple people talking in chat, it's going to be so hard to paint and not just read chat. Because it's funny. There we go. You know, I've actually seen worse when it comes to white paint. You know, I said I was only going to do one more layer, but with how much this last layer improved, I'm really tempted to do one more, because I really think I could get to the point that I actually want to get it to with just one more layer. It's like those Civilization games. Just one more turn, it's fine. You know, 5 hours later. I have an assignment due. I mean, hey, I think Age of Empires 2 and its history section is what got me interested in military history to begin with. And I think my first encounters with the concepts of like world wonders and stuff like that was from Civilization. Let's see. That's cool, Jen. I don't think I've ever seen an interactive globe. We had games, and we had Mom. Get stoves. Alright, that was what I was saying. So it's not exactly anthropomorphizing, but whenever I'm painting a model, I get these weird, like, phantom sensations. As I said, like, when I'm painting in between the toes, my toes kind of curl up. That is an excellent question, Jesse. I don't have many whites. And I've got the Army Painter Lawful White and a Vallejo White. I could try another white. Yeah, let me finish up this current layer here, and then I'm gonna go grab some Vallejo white and see if that's a little bit more opaque. Because right now this guy's getting almost like chalky. That was too much. Ah! Spread out. There we go. Exactly. Oh man, I've been getting so tilted playing Age of Empires recently. So, in the last couple months, I've actually started playing AoE 2, Age of Empires 2, ranked online, and it has been quite the experience. They released the Definitive Edition, which is kind of a upgraded engine, basically the same. It's the same game, but just a few balance tweaks, upgraded engine, stuff like that. And it's a lot of fun, but oh man, can it be frustrating. I normally don't get tilted or ragey at games, but man, last night. Oh boy. Oh yeah, you know what? We had a it wasn't an atlas, but it was effectively I don't know, was it like a world census? Is basically what it was, where it gave a breakdown of all the information for a certain country. For that year. So I think we had like a year 2000 like world census or something like that. And I poked around that. That was fun. Okay. We're going to try pulling out the we're not going to be doing the lawful white. We're just going to be using Vallejo flat white. I'll go grab that. Okay, so we actually have two. We have a matte white, which is still from Army Painter. And we also have just a plain white from Vallejo. So we're gonna give these a try. Yeah, I think I'm gonna regret this if I don't try to go all the way. So let's see. So this is a matte white as opposed to the lawful white. Well, yes and no. In regards to the hole in the wing, it's one of those things where it was not a printing error. I think what happened is the guy modeled this part of the model with a wing section that was a little too thin, and when the program compiled and tried to figure out the printing path, it basically was not thick enough for it to register as a spot that should be printed. But it comes out with this great kind of ragged look to it, and so yeah, it's great. Okay, so we are using the matte white, the Army Painter matte white, same brand. I can already tell it's a little more cool looking. Like, I'm not sure how well you can see, but this definitely looks like it has almost like a milky tint, while this one has kind of like a bluish tint. So, we will find out. Well, I give the advantage with your persuasion roll with your kiddos. You know, I identify with that. Math makes sense, and it's better than reading. It took me a long time to learn to read, but I was doing math well before then. Well, good luck, and thanks for dropping by. Okay. Ooh. So I can't tell if this is a function of using a different paint or the fact that we're finally getting up to enough layers that's going through, but this matte white is turned this guy a good shade. I feel like that Mr. Incredible meme of just like, white is white. No, it's not. What do you mean red's not red? Well, there's, 12 dozen different shades of red, it seems like, and they all interact with different colors differently. There we go. Okay, yep, that looks really good. I'm not seeing hardly any undertones in that. So, hooray matte white, or perhaps hooray 5 different layers. You know, reading was always, um, thanks. So many different whites. You know, it's funny. It took a really long time to read, and I took a decent amount of time to type. But the thing that has cut through that for me, I think, really has been D&D. My typing speed has gone through the roof. I write a lot more now, and like I've officially gotten to the point where it's like I don't have to look at the keyboard when I'm typing. Which, I mean, I have a feeling that there's a lot of people that actually never get to that point, and so it's just practice, 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 writing a ton, lots of keyboard practice. I'm not actually sure what my typing speed is. I think it's close to, it's in the 50s, I think. 50 words per minute, but oh man, okay. Thank you for suggesting using a different white, because I think this is doing what I want to do, because the matte white is drying less chalky and drying more, well, oddly enough, it's actually drying more like a gloss varnish. Less chalky, more smooth. So, you get a card. Makes me really wonder what the Vallejo white is like then. So I think next stream, I'm gonna try to get some better intro graphics and stuff like that. I want to see if I can do kind of a low poly red panda that is a little red panda face that is animated a little bit, so it kind of like hovers or kind of boops up and down, waiting for the stream to start, which I think would be kind of adorable. And then also do something similar for a, stream as pause type thing. But my plan is basically, I try to take 1 day a week to stream, then 1 or 2 days to make a video off of the said stream. But then I also want to try to take a day or a good chunk of time to stream prep, whether it's making graphics, learning new programs, stuff like that. And I think that would be an excellent time to come up with some Red Panda graphics. I don't know who made it, but there is a red panda, a little animated red panda gif that I love, of a little red panda just standing there and then like tucking a paw under itself and doing a flip and roll onto its back, and it's absolutely adorable. And I would love that to be a kind of a please hold, stream is waiting type gif, because it's just so stinking adorable. Okay. Ooh, I still may need one more layer, but this is so close. It's actually starting to look white now, which is, I mean, a good thing when you're painting a white dragon. Okay, so I've done tail. Okay, time to do the underwings. Ooh. I also need to pick up the guitar again. I found another, well, it's few and far between that I find a song that I actually like want to play on guitar. And I found one the other day. It's kind of been my sanity song. I think I've listened to it like at least a dozen times these last couple days. And I think with a capo I could get into my range, but it's a nice, fun, almost like country rock style to it, which is hilarious because it's from an anime. But, I mean, Cowboy Bebop is known for its music, so I guess I'm not too surprised. Whew. You know, a few things remind me to keep good posture as painting, because it punishes you if you do not have good posture. Okay, we're getting some more matte white in here. I'm using so much paint. Good grief. Thin you out a little bit. Just a little bit more. Let's see. I thin that out too much? May have thinned that out too much. Wolf at the end of war. So I like Gavin's music anyway, but all of his Witcher stuff is just so good. Like every single one of his Witcher songs I am a fan of. Actually, correction. I think there's like one song that I always forget is a Witcher song, and I always forget about it. So I guess that one isn't my favorite. But all of his like more rock and roll style ones are just so good. Okay, so we've got tail, we've got wings, we've got the back. So now let's try to be a little more methodical about this time. Hind legs. Inside and outside. And belly. I feel like this guy's getting pampered. Which is kind of amusing to say about a giant icy terror, but you know. Everyone needs a spa day every now and then, right? I am definitely looking forward to get this guy on the table, though. It's gonna be interesting, though, because... oh, man. D&D has such a weird power curve for its monsters. Like, up to 5th level, monster design is pretty solid. A few notable issues. I'm looking at you, Shadows. Good grief. You could party wipe a group of 20 if given the right circumstances. A group of level 20s, by the way. But after that, you end up getting to these really weird, like, monsters are just not quite... well, CR has many problems to begin with, and that's, I guess, really the main issue. And I don't know, maybe there's some... yes, you may quote me. There's some interesting design things that's going on with D&D, which is the idea of, you know, you have these parties of normally 3 to 6, so already that is a pretty broad band. And they're trying to fight monsters which are normally solo monsters. You have action economy. That's a problem. When you've got 4 guys with 2 attacks each, you've got 10 attacks against your monster, which may only even have 1. I think the purple worm only has a single attack that then has a swallow. So it's pretty, you have action economy problems initially. But action economy would not be so much a problem if there wasn't the other issue of basically the damage to health combo of the party. Basically, party members are, even the chunkiest fighters, according to the monster manual, are pretty glass cannony. So, let's say you have a monster that you want to have be nice and just like, let me read your question. Am I going to a level 10 and a level 7 with a CR 10 on it? I'm not quite sure I understand your question. Oh, I see. A level 10 character and a level 7 character with a CR 10 monster. If that's what you're asking, on average, yes. So yeah, this is where we're getting into this weird stuff of action economy, is that if you have a monster, then yes, a CR10 will probably kill 1 level 10 and 1 level 7. Probably. Although I have had, given the correct builds for player characters, you can 1v1 monsters of equal or greater CR than your level. I'm looking at you, Samurai. Oh, Samurai fighters can be insane. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. Or way off subject of what I'm trying to say. The combination of players being... PCs being glass cannons and monsters having poor action economy generally results in this weird situation of, if a monster only has 1 action to attack, they have to put all their damage in that 1 attack, and in order to compete with the amount of damage that the party can do, you end up getting monsters that hit incredibly hard on 1 attack and become incredibly swingy. And you don't want to add in more monsters, because let's say you have 2 monsters that hit like trucks but only have 1 attack. Well, what happens when they both hit their attacks and basically drop a player each turn? That starts being not so much fun. But if you have, if they miss both of their attacks, then your players normally can unload so heavily, so quickly. There's a, it's not really, well, because they're glass cannons, there isn't much of a fight. And so, the idea that I would prefer, and this tends to be how I run stuff more, is more enemies with lower damaging attacks to kind of balance out the action economy. Okay, my dude, you're starting to look much better. I think one more layer, and you will be white enough to almost compete with my dance moves. No, I think with one more layer, that's gonna be white enough to actually be legit like a snowy white. So, okay, guys, last layer. I said I was only gonna do like 2 layers of white, and now I'm on to like layer 6. So, I'm liking this matte white. This is working pretty well. So, let's see if we can bust through this. And let's go. Start the clock. What's interesting is dragons actually kind of mess with this equation. They're one of the only monsters, well, for monsters of equivalent CR, dragons are incredibly dangerous. Their breath weapons put them into a realm of damage per round that is so high. They should be about 2 or 3 higher levels of CR than they are, which makes them, again, really swingy. I'm hoping that actually in whatever like 6th edition they come out with, I really hope monster design is on their docket for improvement. I would really suggest things like monsters getting legendary actions out of turn a lot sooner in CR. They don't call it Dungeons and Dingoes? I mean, yes. Not sure where that was coming from, but I mean, I do feel like that's a good play on words. I do hope they revisit monster design, because one of the most consistent complaints I've heard from seasoned DMs is a general dissatisfaction with how the monster design works. That basically 4th edition D&D, which was unliked by a lot of people for being basically too gamey, had really good monster design. At least that is what I have heard. And I would love for them to make monsters a little bit more... Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, I get your joke now. Wait, so does that mean that dungeon CR is higher than your average town CR? I don't know, maybe there was a joke in there. Thought I'd throw it out there. No, I think I would really like monsters be a little bit more gamey, a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more nuanced. Some real good instructions for kind of a build your own monster. I mean, like, I homebrew like so much of my stuff just because the monsters just aren't all that much fun. Like, I want almost every monster I run, I want to have a memorable and unique special ability, something that in the fight the players will have to consider. You know, for example, kobolds have pack tactics. So you get enough kobolds together, they actually start to pose a little bit of a threat. Goblins have can, I think, disengage as a bonus action. I think can hide as a bonus action. So they're all almost like these little mini rogues. They can't dash, though. So it's like, yeah, that's cool. And I guess orcs have, what was it, the aggressive trait, which lets them dash as a bonus action if they are moving towards an enemy, which is not a bad ability. Well, I don't know. I feel like it's an ability that I just don't use all that often. But that may be my own fault. But I want to see more damage resistances and damage vulnerabilities. I want to see more special abilities. And I think something that they did in 4th edition that at least Matt Colville really likes is that basically there were monster classes. So there were bruisers and tanks and skirmishers, and all of these creatures just had a tag, this is a skirmisher, which meant that it basically had all the combat actions of a skirmisher. So they could, disengage when they attacked, or, could move faster, or maybe a bruiser had a once per turn damage negation ability or something like that. And so you could just have a whole bunch of monsters with different stat blocks, but they still had the same, basically, like, action toolkits that could be really, quick and easy to memorize for the DM. And so it's just like, hey, orcs are strikers, goblins are skirmishers, but so, gnolls might be skirmishers, they're just a little bit tougher than your standard goblin, and trolls are bruisers or whatever. And as long as you knew those classes, you could just be a little bit more confident in how a certain monster was supposed to be run. So anyway, I would love to see that in newer versions. I've already hacked 5th edition so much, it's hardly even 5th edition anymore, I feel like. My players are saints for keeping up with my shenanigans. Did I already do the side? I don't think I did. Okay. I need some water. Woohoo! That's better. Oh. Well, this guy is coming along great. I was not expecting the white coats to take so long, but to be fair, I do think that this is 90% of the work, or maybe 70%, we'll say. Because once the white's done, we're gonna be doing purple shadows and blue highlights. At least that's the plan. And I would love to throw some like sea green darks in here as well, but I'm not sure I am that confident in my color theory. Okay. Outside and front, all on the inside there. Also, the other funny thing about working with a you know, I think I can forgive you the lack of accuracy of your Halo use. Oh, what was I gonna say? I don't remember. But anyway. Dude, this dragon lifts. Look at these muscles. Like, the definition on that guy. I am slightly intimidated. My masculinity is being challenged by a giant white lizard. See, he's challenging so many parts of me. He's whiter than me. He's buffer than me. I mean, I think I might be more handsome than him. Maybe. But jury's still out on that one. There you go. That would be nice. Gotta remember sometimes I can drift off of camera. Okay, I think anything underneath is pretty much as white as it needs to be. Ah, we're almost done with the white. That makes me excited. That was definitely going better than my last dragon that I did. Wow. There were layers to that joke. Wow. Man, I feel like this would also work really well with a wash. I feel like a purple, like a very mild purple wash, and then some nice dry brushing would work really well here. But okay, woohoo! Man, that is a white-looking dragon. I am glad that I stuck to all that. Okay. So now we have to check all of the parts that I missed. So I'm gonna get a different brush here, and we're gonna start making sure that all the edges and sections around here all have the layers that they need. Making sure we catch all the holidays. We're working 24/7. No holidays. No breaks. I feel like I missed quite a bit right there. Okay. What's that sign? Go. Last night when this finally got them printing, I had such a sigh of relief because these wings were a 48-hour print, and they were in a kind of precarious position, and I was just worried that they were going to fail. I wasn't going to have everything I needed to do for today's stream. I was just like, please, please, you know, can I burn incense to my 3D printer? Can I bribe it with, you know, premium plastic? Like, I need this to work. Okay, the next one is actually these, vacations? Wait. We were both little at the same time. I thought we called them holidays. Is my childhood a lie? Or just my memory bad? Probably just my memory. Oh, the drummer dies hard. I just realized I was painting in beat with the music. Okay, that's a lot better. Let's get these front edges a little bit. Wait a second, I don't need to get those front edges. They're gonna be bluer. Okay, now let's try to catch all the parts in the face that may have gotten brushed over. Especially these kind of underside spots. Running. The door. There we go. Okay, now we're just gonna make sure. Yeah. Yeah, memory is such a weird thing. I think something that really helped me reconcile a lot with my memory is when you understand that basically the point of your memory is to protect you from getting hurt, or to basically to keep you alive. It's like, what are the things that cause pain? What are the things that made my life hard? All this type of stuff. Then you start to realize, like, why do you remember, like, the negative things? And then the second thing being, the second thing being, from basically your brain trying to remember all the things for you not to do because, you know, trying to keep you alive, basically. Then mix that with the concept that something doesn't have to be true in order for it to be ingrained in your memory as something negative that you need to avoid again. And so that combination made me go from, oh, my memory is something that I can totally trust, to I am going to be highly suspicious of my memory, and because it is basically it's not just that I'm a biased historian. My brain is a biased historian. My memory is not necessarily interested in being accurate. It's being interested in keeping me alive. And so I am not necessarily assured that it isn't going to be a little scant on the details that it doesn't feel like it needs to remember because they're not relevant. But yeah, when I realized that kind of, honestly, it made me more humble about memory. Just going, no, it's completely possible I just misremembered something. Okay, I think that is all the little bits. Okay, guys, look at that. He's white. That's pretty cool. Okay, now for the scary part. I need to shade. I need to throw some shade. And I need to do some highlights. So, I think we started out by doing a base coat of this ghostly blue. And there we go. Really like that. And I think frost blue is a good follow-up. But it might be a little bit too dark. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out my other palette. Because this one actually has a better mixing area. And we're going to take some more matte white. And we're going to take some of our ghostly blue. And we are going to mix in with some water. Actually, I did this backwards. Because I want something pretty white to start with. There we go. Very light there. And we're going to start with a little area just to see how it works. See what the color looks like. Oop, that brush was not wet. We're gonna take this, and we're just gonna try to put a little bit of some. Ooh, that was super wet. Why was that so wet? Okay. We're just going to throw a little bit of blue on these scales. To give a sense of darkening color. And then we're going to throw in a little bit more blue. Darken it up some more. We're going to do that again, but not quite as aggressively. Honestly, I think I need some more water in here. But I actually think that this is a little too thick. I don't want that nearly as... I'm hoping that this will start giving the quote-unquote highlights that I'm looking for. Take some of this lighter color. Whether I'm actually using the glazing technique or not, learning how to glaze has taught me a lot more about the importance of thinning out your colors and such. There we go. That's interesting. Now, I don't know if I want to even make this any darker. I just want something that's a little bluish. And I think, actually, this kind of blue, shall we call it blue frosting, get back to that good old 2000 boy band hairstyle. Turn that up a little bit. There we go. I think I'm actually going to have the this entire tail start to to glaze. That's great. I'm actually wanting to have this tail changing color. Like the entire tip into a darker blue. And this is going to be the real test of my understanding of in painting for this model, is blending and not making the blue too much. It needs to be a complement to the rest of the white. And that is something that I'm not the most understanding or confident in. And so that's going to be the interesting part here. And also, this is not my favorite color of blue by any stretch of the imagination. However, I don't have to like it for it to be the right color. It's like being a good cook. If you're making guacamole, you don't have to like avocados. You just need to know how to make them right. Okay, I like that. That worked. Okay, I think I found my color palette range. Okay, that's cool. Yep. Oh, perfect. So what we got is this ghostly blue. And this is the exact shade that I want. It's as dark as I want this dragon to get. And so if I just mix it with white, I have all the nuance that I need. And it's going to be a little bit tedious, but catching edges and peaks with this color is going to give all the darks that this piece needs. There we go. So yeah, for the contrast, I have blue. I just have to figure out what to do with shading. See, so this is what I like about blue, is it plays really well with white. If you need a lighter blue, you just put a little white in there, and it actually works. I really shouldn't be using this brush for that type of technique, but there we go. Guys, this is working. So honestly, that was the last question that I need answered, was how was I gonna do this blue? And now that I know how I'm gonna do this blue, I think we're good. Although, the purple. Oh no. But okay, let's see. What do we want for this? What brush do we need for this? I think what we do, we're gonna get this guy. We're gonna get this really light blue. We're really gonna work it in. And we're gonna try doing a little bit of dry brushing here. This should catch the highlights. I'm not sure if that's working super well. Okay, I may need a different dry brush. That looks better. Okay. That looks about alright. Looks like the right color there. It's a very subtle blue on the wings. There we go. Especially on the edges. This is looking good. This is definitely looking good. Sorry, I just kind of stopped talking because I was really excited and really concentrating on what I was doing. And see, this is why I wanted to actually get this all the way white, because I could have kind of inverted the colors and made the highlights white, but I like this whole idea of making the blues basically the highlights. There we go. Unimus. That's some good color there. I can darken that up just a little bit. So what we're going to do now is, instead of dry brushing all of this, we're going to get our color, and we are going to make it nice and thin. Once it's nice and thin, we're going to get a fresh piece of paper towel. And we're going to start trying to glaze up a little bit. $420 glaze it. I am way too white. So what I'm wanting to do here is make these kind of ridges here a bit bluer. And so I'm just trying to build up some of this light blue. I may have my paint bit too thin. Also, maybe not even dark enough. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Yeah. My paint was too thin, so I'm gonna let that side dry a little bit. I'm gonna try working on this side a little bit. Whatever these ridges are, I want to draw a little bit of attention to them, make them look like, because they're the highest raised areas, that there's some extra color to them. I think really from here on out, we're looking at basically just detail work. I think what we need is a little bit more of this ghostly blue. Its own little spot. So I think my paint might be trying to separate a little bit. What is that? How did I not see this until now? No! My wonderful white paint job. Destroyed by a little gribbly. Okay, so I think just what we need to do is cover that up a few more times. Okay. I want these ridges to have a bit of a darker look to them, to give a kind of the opposite of a highlight, but not a low light. Trying to hit up the highest peaks with this, the darkest blue. Give some contrast. You know what? I think I want to actually swap up my brush for this one and go into like one of my finest detail brushes because it has one of the best tips for this. I'm less likely to actually hit something I don't intend to. Actually, this could be interesting. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but manually putting in some extra detail onto these ridges I think could look really good. Until you overdo it. Get out of there. There you are. Oh, wrong brush. But I feel like, well, what it seems like to me is that when you do this, you add in some just additional, like, real intentional layering instead of just, hey, let's see where the brush picks it up. You be a little more intentional about where you want certain aspects. Okay, let's move over to this wing. Let's get this going. Well, guys, it looks like I've got about 2 hours of commentary in me. It's about what I got. Not sure what else to talk about because we are now in the real mundane where we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Well, I guess that is what I was doing with the white, so I don't know. I think this is gonna look good though. I have a hard time when I'm just like in the middle of painting going, is this actually looking good? But the fact that I'm already looking at it and going, hey, this is actually looking pretty decent, is already telling me that this is gonna look really pretty good once I have a chance to actually step away from it. Subtlety has never been a strong suit for me when it comes to painting, so this whole concept of, oh yeah, let's just take a detail brush and paint in a color that is barely a lighter shade than or barely a darker shade than I'm currently using, or that's currently down, to like really make a very subtle accent. I'm just like, what? If I am not drawing a contrast of purple and yellow, why even try? That's what it feels like sometimes. But I have to say, this is my favorite part of painting, is getting these sections to really pop, catch the light. Let me save that one. That's looking pretty good. Different angle on this one. There we go. And the blue is coming out real subtle here. I'm liking that. The edging on these scales here is a little bit blunt. I'm gonna try to even these up a little bit. Blend this just a little bit more. That looks better. That looks a little better, yeah. Okay. I think I actually need a little more water in here. Hey Maggie, here's some oh. What's it called? Nathan Drake. I can't remember the game name. I mean, Uncharted, there we go. Yeah, this is some Uncharted music. So I need this darker blue, but I need it pretty thin. And I'm realizing I'm kind of overdoing some of my darkening attempts. So I think a good piece of advice that I have been told is that when you are doing edge highlights or the like, you don't want to overdo them. So I've already put in a light blue on these ridges, and if I don't want them to pop and be too distracting, I can't make a the darkest blue go along the whole edge. I need to just grab a couple spots to kind of catch the light, and I'm gonna do just a handful of spots. In the most contrasty areas. There we go, and we're gonna hop over here and do the same. That was too much right there. You know, this is actually the type of detail work that I've always wanted to do, but I've never been confident enough in the project and my skills to try it. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I feel like it's good to get a little lost in your project sometimes. Just kind of enjoy the moment. And not think too hard about stuff. But I absolutely love the back of this. This is fantastic. This is exactly what I wanted to look like. So, this is a great... basically, I've found what works, and I know how this is going to play out everywhere else. But now I need to figure out what else I need to do. So I definitely need to do the underwing, and I think I'm just going to do that with some dry brushing. So what am I going to dry brush with? This guy? Yeah. Just gonna do some dry brushing on the underside. Try to get everything kind of up to nice ship shape. Ooh. That's not really dry brushing. That just looks like normal brushing. There we go. That's what I was looking for. That's fine. right now we're just trying to get some of the final, kind of get it to the spot where we can see what maybe the final product might look like. So I'm not too concerned. With making the underside of the wings too detailed, because, well, that's maybe what it looks like from the front. You're actually going to be seeing it from the top a lot more. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to hit up. We're going to get some white in here. We're going to get some of this blue. We're going to get in this nice kind of baby blue color. We are going to keep doing some dry brushing, but we are going to start doing some dry brushing on these glorious muscles that he has. That's going to give us kind of the bluish tint that I want for everything else. Well, that looks fantastic. I love it when dry brushing just works. Ooh, there we go. Unfortunately, we still have little bits of printing leftovers that kind of get in the way. Try not to block your view, but also see myself. Good. So the plan is that after we're done kind of dry brushing these sections out, we can start adding in little extra details. Actually, I like this idea of getting this darkest there we go. I've got the darkest blue that I got here. I'm just doing an ever so slight and mild dry brush over the rest. Ooh. I'm trying not to block your view, but it's a little bit hard to get the angle that I need and still have it be on camera. There we go. Pull in some of the blue on the wing edges. Go. Whew! Wow, that just came together real fast. Whew! We're getting close, guys. Okay, I think what we got left is claws and got a little bit of claws. I'm gonna put you right in here. We'll dot you there. I'm gonna take this matte white. There, all there. And now, we're doing some details. We're doing some detail work here. And it's gonna be on the head and neck. So this is where things are gonna get kind of interesting. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with a dry brush. I'm gonna mix these guys together. Might actually even be a little bit too. That's still a little too blue. So the plan is we get our dry brush going and we hit all the highlights or the kind of the ridges and stuff of this, and then we know where to highlight basically. Okay. Now we pull out the little brushes. Let's mix the synth and it out a little bit. Actually, I need another piece of paper towel. And now we go through all the places I saw. Take some of the paint. We're going to try to contrast these up a little bit. And already I think I may have a brush that's a little bit too big. Okay, what we do, we throw a little more blue in here, we darken this, we keep going. Basically, the idea is that every layer I go, I'm actually painting less. I'm catching less of the edges, leaving more to be leaving more and more left behind, basically. Trying to grab these high parts, fold to the skin. Get some almost tiger stripe action going. Taking some interesting angles to make this work. Okay. Now we swap to the smallest brush. Thank you. Yeah, he is looking really good. I'm really happy about this. Get this nice and thinned. Okay. We got the darkest blue. And we are gonna start working on the final highlights. Oop, that was too much. No. Woo. I feel like the brush is just too wet. No, these face details are making me nervous, so I'm just gonna... get some neck folds a little bit cleaner. Funny thing, when I first heard this song, I accidentally played it when my YouTube was on like 1/4 times speed, I believe. Which means the first time I heard it, it was going too fast. And the thing is, it sounded so good fast, I didn't realize that it was going too fast. So I have a little soft spot for this song being a little bit too fast, so to speak. I'm gonna give him a little icy blue tea, goatee here. A little icy blue goatee. There we go. Let's see. Okay. We're getting close to the end here. We're going to take some of this dark blue, and we're going to give him some blue eyes. Wish me luck. A dark blue eyes. You know, I think like a super dark blue tongue would be on point here. Yeah, so we're all into like final little details here. I think I'm just gonna take this darkest blue and do the inside of his mouth. There's actually some pretty hard areas to go here. But not many people are going to be taking a close look at all the detail of the inside of his mouth. Into the wild. Now, here's the problem. Claws. Whew. This is an interesting question. I could go flat blue. What type of blue is this? What is a frost blue? I think it's roughly the same shade. Let's just give this a try. Let's see what happens. When we make the final claws a blue. It's gonna take a couple layers, I'm pretty sure. that too much? That might be too much. That's okay. What if we go this color we've been using? It doesn't look claw-like. White. I don't feel like white would be the right color. Every time this happens, I just want to do black. I'm just like, black always works, right? I mean, not always. Oh my good heavens. I completely missed an area here. That's embarrassing. I honestly feel like the claws need to be white. I think that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna practice my... Why is... A little bit off white, but that's fine. I'm gonna practice my nail painting skills. And start slinging paint. I think actually the main thing is the more like blue highlights I have on the feet, the more the toes or the toenails will pop, or claws, I guess is the case may be. See, this is the part where I just realized how many parts I missed. So I think the plan is we're going to do a little misdirection trick. We're going to try to get the teeth as white as we can, but then I've got some red effects paint for blood, and I'm just going to throw in a little blood red. Yeah, I am not feeling blue claws. We're gonna do white for the claws and teeth. And then we're going to throw a little bit of red blood effects paint. There we go. To kind of misdirect the eye. And not pay as much attention to what's around it. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so we have to go through here. We're gonna go white, white, white. this matte white is doing a better job of covering. Oh, I'm off camera again. This matte white is doing a better job of concealing what's beneath it. There we go. There is so much drag in here. Looking pretty good here. It's looking really good. Okay, next side. Whew. We're almost done, guys. Normally I stream from 1 to 3, but I started early, and I may not have entirely needed it. We'll see. I think by kind of making these knuckly areas a blue, and then by turning the claws into white, that actually does give enough contrast. So this guy is so big, I'm literally having to use the side of my desk kind of like the horn on an anvil, or kind of like ironing sleeves on an ironing board. I'm having to put like half of him off the table and fold him around so I can actually get to where I need to go. And let this dry a little bit, and then I can do another layer up top. Okay, let's look at these claws. Claws are looking good, so that's front left. Front right, that's good. Back right, now back left. Looking pretty good. Oh, I missed the front claw. Okay. don't have to make it super 100% white all over the place. Just enough to get the impression on these top sides. That's looking good. So what are we thinking? Blood on the teeth or call it good? Because I think we're doing good. Whew. Oh man. Guys, I think we're just about done. No blood? No blood. I'm fine with that, because that means this guy is now done. One ancient blue dragon. Not blue dragon, white dragon. One ancient white dragon. I'm glad I definitely did all my prep first. But man, I am liking this. This works really well. I think I see a couple spots I want to touch up just a smidge. Just blend that a little bit. The edge is a little sharp. But yeah, huzzah indeed. Well, I just need to put this guy on a base, which is going to be fun. Coffee grounds painted white like snowdrift. Heck yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you y'all for hanging out. This was a fun one. I am, especially considering last week was kind of a meh build, I was really happy to get met with pretty much 100% success here. And I shall add him to my collection. The only dragon I have left to do is a green dragon, which is going to be really interesting. So, yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. So, anyway, thanks for hanging out. I'll play one last song as we go. Let's see. You know what? Let's go with this one. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day. Enjoy the music on the way out. And I will catch you next time.